All right, according to Verizon time, it's 1900. We'll call the Morgantown Fire Territory Executive Board meeting call to order. I'd like you guys to please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Thank you to the veterans in the room. We need a roll call to determine a quorum. I see Jeff's here.
Joe Levin.
Yep.
Trish Keener.
Okay, so we have enough to have a quorum. We need to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Meeting was called to order by Secretary Trish Keener at 7:00 p.m. Do the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call to determine quorum. Jeff Reed, Township Representative. Joe Levins, Township Representative. Courtney Allen, Town Representative. Trish Keener, Secretary and at-large member. Minutes from the October 1st, 2025 were read. Upon motion by Joe Levins and seconded by Courtney Allen, the vote taken. Motion carried to approve minutes with no corrections. Old business. Matt Davidson stated the books do not show first installment paid. It had been paid to the township, but
It's all right.
It had been paid to the township, but not dispersed to the fire territory. $111,047 in cash reserve. The actual amount should be $123,263. The shortage could be from unpaid taxes. Significant pump overhaul in the amount of $24,925.77 for engine 161 and 162 and tanker 161 by First Alarm LLC. Pump testing for ISO occurs annually. Joe Blevins asked for the budget and expenses for the fire department. New business, Matt Davidson was nominated from the township as a representative for the Fire Territory Board. Joe Blevins nominated Matt as chairman of the Fire Territory Board. Matt accepted the nomination. Jeff Reed seconded, and the nomination was carried. Fire chief items. ISO has been advised of changes in fire territory, and they're scheduled to meet on January 6, 2026 for review to get new ISO rating. There are new, tougher rules. Representative has been easy to work with. Another audit will be requested when meeting with the ISO. Town hydrants have been labeled. The smallest water line is 2 inches, and the largest line is 12 inches. New gallon per minute will be 500 when new infrastructure is complete. Brush truck, discussions have been underway to get a bigger truck. It will be compliant with NFPA. It will have a bigger frame, be able to bear more weight, and has better braking capabilities. Fire department is working on a website. This will include events like Halloween or fish fries and the Santa train. The Santa train this year is December 5th, beginning at 4:30, and it will include cookies and hot chocolate. Literacy of Morgan County will be giving out books. Board comments, announcements, and other business. Joe feels like the town and township got started off on a bad foot, but things are better. Per Indiana Code 36.8.19.16.9, we are a joint executive board. Township provides the money, and the Fire Territory Board oversees. The town and township are now on the same page. Per IC 36.8.19.8.5, the Territory Board controls the funds of the fire territory. The tax rate is 0.0333%. The township has a rainy day fund that might be able to help with the shortage that occurred. Clint Chapman went to the Trustee Association Conference, which discussed fire territory boards. Most small departments are drowning, statewide and nationwide problem. The conference was full and provided a lot of good information. Senate Bill 1 is cutting all budgets. Training requirements for fire and EMS are being increased. Courtney Allen moved to adjourn the meeting. Joe Levin seconded. A vote was taken and the meeting was adjourned at 7:38 p.m.
So you need a motion? Yeah, we need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion passes. Executive board items. I don't really have anything like for me, but until we get into new business. You guys have anything that you need to discuss? Yep. Any executive board items? Okay. Old business. Any further discussion on apparatus maintenance? I don't have any.
It's slowing down. We're getting everything caught up. Things are running well.
Okay.
Just when things occur, we address it, and we're thankful for the equipment we got.
Still in old business. Any more discussion on the 2026 budget? Do you have any more discussion? Since you brought it up, we could probably do this in new business too, but I know there's some progression on the ISO.
Yeah, so we was able to meet January 6th with ISO and spent a few hours with him going over lots of paperwork. Collected some more paperwork for him. Went over call volume training, how many of our fire department personnel are on scene. All that stuff makes a difference and matters. We have to have a minimum of 4 people on a scene, fire scene, to get any credit for having our people on that scene. He was happy to see that with us being a territory that we're getting out the door in under 2 minutes and getting on the scene quicker. He said that affects your ISO rating and score. He is obviously, like I said, advocating for us to do his work to get us out of that class 10 and get us into something a little bit better. Now, he understands we still have a water project going on in town. He understands that we got to readdress that as we move forward. But right now, we're just trying to get, his words were out of the basement, because we're in the basement right now. And he said we just got to get out of the basement and at least on the first floor. So he said he felt pretty good about the stuff we presented. Felt like we'd get out of that 10, but he would not commit to where he thought we would land. And it's not entirely up to him. He advocates for us and turns it into his bosses, and then they score it accordingly. So
There's nothing solid back yet.
nothing back yet, but they have up to 120 days after that date that we met. So, well, I think actually he had 2 weeks after that date and then 120 days from there to get us an answer and get us rescored. And
Our fire hydrant maintenance, spreadsheet.
yes,
Check that, did it work?
I immediately forwarded that to him, and so he has that too.
And don't forget to mention something. It takes time.
It does take time.
He said you're a new territory, you have no history, basically.
Yeah, he said one thing that could affect our score is that we're showing him a year and 6 months of what we've aggressively done, which he said it was awesome. He said he'd love to see 3 to 5 years of this exact thing working to really get the insurance rate changed, the ISO rating changed to definitely get the insurance down. But getting out of a 10 will help people's homeowners insurance when they go shopping.
In old business, still any more discussion on the brush?
We've still been reaching out, researching, trying to get the most efficient, cost-effective thing to present. So we're still working on that. Like I said, we have the bed, or we have the unit. We just need a beefier truck for that brush unit to slide into or sit on, whether it be a flatbed or a slide-in unit. It can go either way with that brush bed that we currently own. So that helps with the cost of things.
Can you remind me and the public as well, that the board, how old is that truck?
That truck is a 1996 Ford.
Yeah.
So
Okay, pardon me? 30 years.
30-year-old truck, and it's having some issues. So
I will say a little bit about the brush truck. I had mentioned to the two different areas or boards,
I had mentioned it to the township board as well, like soft delivery, like, hey, it's gonna be a problem, like, we need to think about it. So for them to be more efficient, service delivery to be right, and then build it, purpose built. So I haven't done anything with it yet, but I'm starting to build it from both sides.
Well, and with that would come out of that equipment replacement fund
Right.
that excess of money went into, so we didn't have to give it to the county.
Right.
So it's funds that are already sitting in the bank that would be funding that truck.
Oh. Done with old business? We're going to new business? 2026 budget due to Senate Bill 1. I'm going to discuss a little bit about that. Senate Bill 1 is pretty hard to grapple a little bit because there was parts of it at the beginning that were, some were credits, now some of them are not, especially for veterans. Honestly, the more I read it, there's days where it makes me just more confused than it does, and there's other times where I start to understand it. But what I did see, in like the second tax draw, was about $114,000 downfall. It's still unraveling as far as like the first part of the property. Next part's going to be like a combination of things, and then the third part is going to be like farmland and things like that. So the reduction is real. It's coming down. I have these for later. I don't know if I printed enough, and I will hand these out to you guys. It's just a summary. The property tax relief, things to reduce homeowner taxes, phasing up homestead deductions, adding tax credits at the beginning, and now that's changing on the second part. Local government funding gaps or projected to cut school funding by hundreds of millions and reduce overall local government revenue and potential service. Sorry to read this, but I don't remember word for word. The local option income tax changes. You choose whether or not you take local income tax. Tax entity. Most people have, and those things are changing too. And in 2028, as a bit of an explanation into why some people think that the previous administration or whatever held on to $500,000 was because we had to put it someplace because it was going to include roads, such as we can see it. Why it's significant, even in the explanation, for sweeping reform is major overhaul bringing in property taxes, local finance system, complex long-term financial implications. Some of the long-term financial implications that they didn't forecast were the broad effects of essential services like fire, EMS, and public education. So schools and corporate are incorporated in that too. So, Senate Bill 1 is affecting us directly, the township, the territory, the funding for the fire department, and eventually schools. So I just wanted to give my brief explanation about how that's affecting us. And I wanted to move on to kind of a knee-jerk reaction about printing stuff on it.
Was she going to bring up what the DLGF brought back because of that? Or is that later?
The DLGF, and as far as
Like what it pulled for the funds for the fire department?
oh, right. So in the budget for fire department was 856.
Well, we submitted 821 because
It reverted back
because it
to-
reverted back to 2025 budget.
Right. And then the only amount that's going to come in after you missed that with Senate Bill 1 cut to 721. I don't have the exact number. Well, 756.
I thought it was 746.5.
746. Well, 740. Right.
I think.
746.5.
Is that correct, Joe?
Yeah.
Or is it?
So there's a territory, a township shortfall of like $114,000. Something like that. We would have to pick up. Meeting in two boards.
And didn't the equipment replacement fund take a small hit too? Instead of 113, it's like 109 or something. That what we did? You
That's correct.
shared.
Yes. Thank you for keeping. Is there any discussion on this? any more discussion? Do you want to talk about, you want to do it with your chiefs? Chief?
Well, I didn't know if that was going to get brought up here, but I'm obviously, you guys are in charge of our funding. You now know what the DLGF sent you. My question, I guess, would be, from a fire department standpoint, those numbers, since they were reported at 821, but it only brought in whatever we said,
Because of
if
the
you guys are comfortable with it, I think the fire department can figure that out. I mean, that, just fair warning, we may end up with just 2 people staffing when we see that decrease in money and stuff like that. But I don't see the point in trying to make up
Because of the shortfall, we don't see the point in you having to make up that. We will
I don't
just
think that is being a good
We will
steward to the
accept-
taxpayer.
that money.
I say we accept what the DLGF allowed to bring pulled in and not worry about, but I think we need that in a motion to cover the board and to give to the town and township that says, hey, this is what the DLGF said, the money that was collected. I know we projected 821, but this is what was brought in and we're good with it. And I think we move on, so that way people aren't being taxed worse or having to come up with the shortfall. We'll just figure it out. Like I said, we're getting caught up on maintenance, so hopefully there's some money there to play in our budget that we can continue to do, provide sufficient, if they call 911, we can get people to them in a timely manner, and it may just be 2 people instead of 3.
The 2 people would start July 1st because you've already been taxed for 3 till July 1st.
Yes. But I don't know if you need that in a motion, but
July 1st, which
July
is when
1st.
that would take effect.
because that's when we'd see this draw and that difference in money.
I would like to know the exact number. That way we can get it right.
If you make it a motion, then it's official. If you make it a motion that.
To accept what the DLGF,
We take with the DLGF.
That'll work.
Also not.
That budget.
and work with
Yes.
that budget.
yeah, I'm all for that, if you guys are.
Is that a fact?
Okay.
This fire department budget as a DLGF.
I believe they-
Yeah.
I'll tell the trustee. Thank you. Consolidation, next item is the consolidation from township government. Explanation to the public and to the board. Currently, there are two bills that are moving. One in the Senate, which is Bill 270, provided the board the explanation of it. I could provide it to the public. And then 1315 is in the House. Both of these bills, and then this, like the emergency, I think I told the township this, when we had the township meeting, that there's an emergency meeting in the middle of the end of December. And they wanted everybody to get on there, they were township trustees. These bills, it kind of goes the same, looks like 13, 15 probably going to die, just because there's a bunch of verbiage left out of it. The 270 is still very real, it's very alive. And it's the one that I explained. The intent is to take 1,005 or something like that townships within the state of Indiana and get it down to 600 by default, and then whittle it down even further from that. So the township government could be going away. One of them was that 1315 that said they wanted to plan by June.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hurried, so that's probably why it's probably going to die. But the other one's more realistic because I think it goes all the way out to 3030. In 270, the DLGF has been mandated to create a grading system for townships. Those involve like how much, or really, territory assistance you can, that was my old school. How big is your population? Do you have a fire department? Are you in part of like an incorporated area or a municipality? And they score you. It's up to 4 or something like that. And then because that directly affects your budgets and everything, it would be like probably a low 1 or 2. But it's still going to probably require that if this goes through, it will require that we have to be consolidated into a larger entity. Incidentally, seeing the map that I was not supposed to see, it looks like Washington, Green, Jackson. Don't quote me on that. That's not official. But that is the intent of both of those bills, consolidate that down. Those boards that exist at township levels would be dissolved. And the newer, bigger township, whatever they decide to call it, it would be one 5-member board. So that's kind of actually covers C as well as House Bill 1315, but I wanted to bring in 270 as well. And then as far as Senate Bill 1. Any discussion on that or question? Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, so I'm not going to pretend to know which one, if either passed or going to pass, but House Bill 1315 has made significant progress very recently. There are ways and means.
Yeah.
Today there were 2 amendments. I know I've been busy, but I got some help here. So
Give them to me. I want him.
proposed amendments, and I can copy here and give you. Amendment 3 has language that looks like it says that the township participates in the fire protection territory, the fire protection district. The fire protection territory, the fire protection district is unaffected by the reorganization of the area within the boundaries of the dissolved township. It's convoluted.
So how do you interpret that one thing?
Yeah. Might be wrong, but it looks to me like a territory would not be included. The fire service of that territory would not be dissolved. So it would be.
I wondered after, and this is my own personal interpretation, after I had that meeting that everybody was freaking out about. I didn't know that, because what it kind of sounded like to me, the secondary part of that would be to figure out how to not have redundancy in service, combine different departments, and then put them together. So it could still all be one township, but I don't know how to interpret it 1,000% yet either. Would they just smash the fire departments together and then make it that township fire department?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
One more amendment that also you touched on, they're extending every deadline by a year.
so not the June 1st, 2026.
Yeah, so the wording is township reorganization delays the resolution of certain townships, by 1 year, makes corresponding changes. And there's 26 of them here. Anything that says, well, not anything, but 933, it says 2028, it goes to 2029.
Do you have a web address for that?
No, House Bill 1315.
Yeah, I'll give this to you guys. Those amendments were presented today, not adopted.
I was looking at it today and I didn't see it. So thank you. So you feel like 1315 may have more now?
Well, so, like, it's moving quicker right now, but it could have one line in it that fills it, right? It does have support, it's got money behind it, it's got some big mayors behind it, Mayor Fisher's. Yeah,
Both. I think.
Yeah, she's I think the chief of staff or the speaker. She spoke positively about it, and they are. She doesn't speak out about a whole lot. I know the ICA is in favor of Senate Bill 270 out of the two. So I'm sure that's got people backing it as well. But I think it's bigger than, my personal opinion, I think it's bigger than the township now. I think that a lot of the drive now is to get rid of that lower level of government. It's like 100% Republican back right now, so I can see probably dig into it when I get rid of it. My opinion, certain levels of control. So I didn't think
I'm not for the bill. I think it takes away the ability to do this.
the grassroots.
If we
Yes.
add on to bigger, or more townships, 2, 3, 4, that gives people an opportunity to be represented, they should have less input.
I think it takes, I think it takes away the input that you would have for assistance. You can go to a physical place, go and ask somebody for help. But at the same time, I understand why they're looking at all these things. I think I'll hold my personal opinions, but that's for around the campfire. I think Consolidation Township Government and House Bill 1315 have been covered. Discussion of the new business. We move to the fire chief's items.
Main thing we've got, finishing up our website and stuff to share these things and be transparent with people on there, everything we're doing and why, and also do some community outreach with information on checking your smoke alarm, stuff like that. We keep trying to also learn about these House bills and Senate bills because it does affect fire departments. We're trying to interpret them as well. Our big thing is, since we are already a fire territory that exists, our hope is that the town and township will continue to work together and stay a territory. And hearing that about the House bill, I would really hope that, because when we have had conversations with other people in the county, they've told us that we would have a tax significantly higher than 28 cents if we were all one big fire department in the county. And to me, this is a bargaining chip to continue to work on this with where we're at. And if they're going to potentially be something higher and we're functioning at 28 cents, I don't want to have to look at the taxpayer and say, well, we had to give up and go to the county and now we're all at 40 cents. I don't want that if we can manage it at 28. So I want to continue to work with the local voice, like we heard Brandy say, and see what we can do here at a local level with a town and township until we know more about whether this is getting consolidated or not. We're going to treat it like we're not, but we're staying ahead of it as a group, and I'm thankful for that. Again, we've continued to work within our means of our budget. We've had some like I said, last year we had a lot of maintenance issues and stuff like that. I know there was some discussion about lawyer fees and stuff last year, and we are seeing some lawyer fees this year already from people requesting information. So I would prefer I'd rather have conversation at the firehouse, schedule a meeting, and not cost the taxpayer lawyer fees, but we'll pay the lawyer fees and get them what they need. So I think that's a lot of the main stuff I have at this time. We gave you guys a packet of everything showing our budget last year and how we've spent the money. We gave you guys, and we're giving that to the town and township as well. We've also got other paperwork in there for you if you guys want to discuss any of it to help be transparent.
Yeah, just the fact that in the packet they've given us, there's so far since 2025 and now into 2026, territory has spent around $11,000 to $12,000 just in attorney fees. That's ridiculous because none of that information.
Matt,
Nothing's been done with any of that.
Matt, if you don't mind, the total expenses for 2025 was $10,243.50 in lawyer fees. Just received one today for $961. I know. I just wanted exact numbers out there for everybody because of transparency, because everyone wants.
One of the things in this packet that I'd like to bring up, and then she will talk about it, is, there was a discussion that people in the town don't pay this is a territory tax.
So, I don't know, I have personally been asked by some about this, and I don't know, the question was brought forth, and the comment was made that the town does not pay the same as the township or something along those lines. So, I looked it up. So, in 2023, pay 2024. Another thing is, the big thing with the town is the town has an extra line item that we don't have from the township. The township has 4 line items in your tax, I'm sorry. Someone that lives in the township has 4 line items in their tax bill. They got Morgan County, Jackson Township, Nineveh Hensley Jackson United School Corporation, and then Morgan County Public Library. If someone that lives in town, they have Morgan County, Jackson Township, Morgantown Civil Town, Nineveh Hensley Jackson United School Corporation, Morgan County Public Library. And the one thing I wanted to clear up was before we were a territory, we would contract with the town and the township. Okay, well, the only people that live in town were only paying 2 cents. People in the township were paying 4. But with the Morgantown Civil Town, they were paying 6 cents. So they were being taxed for a fire department, and that contract was fulfilled every year we signed a contract.
Yeah, well,
And now, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think the way that tax broke down with the township was part of the township budget and part of it.
Yes, the 2 cents was for the township budget because the fire budget came from the town with that 6 cents. Yes. Now that we are a fire territory, if you look at the 2024, pay 2025, in the Jackson Township line item for anyone that lives in the township, it was 31 cents that everyone paid in taxes. If you look into someone from town, they paid 31 cents as well. And they're still paying 6 cents to the town. So, I mean, they are paying the same amount in taxes for this fire territory as anyone else.
That's right.
So I just wanted to clear that up.
Township and the town had to agree to a uniform tax.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So the tax is the same, but the difference is the assessed values.
And the cap.
And, the amount of land people own. People don't own land here in town. They just own a home and a lot and things like that. So, I mean, there's differences, but they're paying the same tax rate. So I wanted to clear that up because that was, maybe I misunderstood the questions that were brought to me, but that's what I found when I looked into it.
Both of the items. Does the board have any additional comments or announcements for the business? Okay. We move to comments from the floor. Please raise your hand if we're going to do this correct. There you go. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. A couple things I'd like to discuss. I want to thank the fire department for getting me this information that I requested. I've always learned that you don't have to go the hard way to get stuff, or I've gone the difficult way by going through your attorney, and I thought I shouldn't have to do. As a matter of fact, your attorney told me to bring it to him and not to you guys. But I thank you for responding and providing the information I asked. I would say, I would ask a question of the board. According to the interlocal agreements, fire unit established a fire protection territory fund, operating fund, and all expenses, yada, yada, yada. Now, it's my understanding from the information I have that the fire department opened a new checking account, is that correct? For the fire territory?
Yes. Yes.
So my question is, they are not the provider unit, you are. Or you, Matt, you are.
And the other role.
Right, in the other role. You
Right.
are. So the question is, and I realize it's semantics and bookkeeping, when was there an authorization for the fire department to write the checks against what the interlocal agreements? And I know it's a good deep pain, yes, because you guys, QuickBooks, you're having a good job of QuickBooks. But it says clearly in your interlocal agreement that there should be an operating fund where the money is drawn from. So then why do they control the operating?
Is this a township trustee question, or is this a fire territory board?
Well, the fire territory board, because it's fire protection territory fund.
Okay.
And
I want
So-
they have opened an account for it. Now, the question, I guess I would ask the question, are you able to sign the checks along with them?
So my understanding, when we put all this together in the interlocal agreement and stuff, is that Morgantown Rural Fire Department Incorporated is the entity that is contracted with the interlocal agreement. And that's why we give them statements every time we come here to show them our money. We discuss money with them through that. That's why we have the interlocal agreement. And that's why we have a totally different bank account separate from the 501c3, so that way they can see that we're being very transparent with the funds that they have given us, and we submitted a budget showing this line item is for maintenance, this is for this, and if we have things that come up in there, we share it with them at these meetings.
May I make a suggestion that according to the interlocal agreement, it's not supposed to be set up. May I make a suggestion that either the providing unit or the territory board here write an amendment to allow them to do the check, write the check. And I can see why you want to do it, because they have to take it, put it in the file, and bring it over to Matt and say, hey, man, you got 46 checks for me. Not good. I'm just saying that if you want to follow the interlocal agreement, then it says that the providing unit have the operating fund, and they are not the providing unit.
But they have operating fund, but it shows the contract with the fire department, how they use that.
If I could have another way to look at it, if we're looking at potentially growing, or at least it's been discussed in the past with another fire department, what fire department's going to operate? It's been, right? So do the fire departments merge to become one?
So if the township, the way I understand this maybe, is if the townships are brought together, this territory, to me, is a bargaining chip with them to say, is this something you want to be a part of? Because you said even with House Bill, it may not affect. If it's something that's, we can all come together and agree on pennies on the 100 for assessed value and stuff like that, they can come into this interlocal agreement, and it would still be, it wouldn't be Morgantown Fire Department, Washington Township Fire Department, Green Township. We'd all be one name, and we would have someone in charge of that, and you'd still have a board that approves the money we're spending in maintenance and things like that, like we've been doing. Like I said, right now, we're basically a contractor. They've agreed to contract with us this money. That's why they write us that check, and then we keep showing them books, and they've not been disappointed, and they haven't. They've seen that we're not trying to be frivolous with the money. We're trying to be good stewards of your tax dollars with either staffing or maintenance, and we're not just trying to buy the newest, greatest truck. When we got a good truck, we can lightly maintenance and keep around. I would say as this grows, if other fire departments want this territory to exist, they come into that interlocal agreement, and we continue to move forward. And I do think when you have to rewrite that, that would definitely be something for discussion with the lawyer that helps us write up the interlocal agreement, bringing those in.
So theoretically, it would become one department in the fire.
In my mind, it would. I don't know why we would treat it like it's territorial, like, oh, that's Washington. No, we're all one big area. With this side of White River, for example, because the way you described the potential map, and we go, we can all work together here. We can all be a team together. We can do all this together. And then this person's in charge of this.
Basically, we'd become one department, multiple stations.
You mentioned the operating fund. Could you repeat what you said? It's an operating.
Yeah, I mean, they have an operating fund set up, and it's two, right, it's two, you know, two checks.
2 installments.
I wish they did, but they don't. Because if you look at your 2025 books, you do not have the specific operating fund in the state. So I would recommend that.
Does it mean, can that get fixed with just a label, like different labeling in the books?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would suggest that at least you have a meeting, you know, and say, because it clearly states that you have to put together an operating fund. Now, if you take the operating fund and take the funds and give it to the fire department, that's totally fine. But right now, the way you're operating, if the state board of accounts came in and audited it, they'd say, wait a minute.
I'm getting ready to ask
You
them
did
to
an
come in.
interlocal agreement and you don't have an operating fund. That was supposed to be set up.
Okay.
Just a catch so you don't get caught in it.
Sure. And I don't know if you heard me say that. I'm getting ready to ask this before you get forward.
Okay. And then secondly, thank you very much for your generous offer to check the shortfalls. But once again, I like to do math. And thank you for what you sent me. And I followed through and read everything and marked it all off. Now, I'd like to ask you a question about it because there was one question that didn't get answered from the lawyer, and that was the number 2. And the number 2 question dealt with starting July 1, 2025 and December 31, 2025, the number of personnel working on each of the 12-hour shifts per day, including any shift that did not have 3 people working. And the reason I asked that was simply the fact that I looked at your budget and I did the math. You had 6 people working in one day. Total for that day payment would be $1,440. If you did that over a 30-day month, it would be $43,200 on average, because you went to
AccuPay.
and I assume you did that to pay to make it payroll, make it easy for you guys.
It helps us keep everything squared with
They
CPA,
take care of
with State Board of
W-2s,
Accounts.
everything.
You just send them the money and they take
Yes.
care of it.
They take care of W-2s, taking out taxes, everything.
What I was getting to is your average on that is $39,819.71. That's a pretty good average, except that you're about $3,380 short of what you were supposed to be budgeted for. So my question would be, could you maybe take a look at that and see if some of those funds could offset $74,000 short?
Yeah, and that's one of the, in my opinion, one of the benefits of us being a contractor for you is if we are saving some money, that's going to save the taxpayer money and we can keep moving that forward in paying people to be there. Hopefully for longer, when we have shortfalls, we're good, if that makes sense. Because it's harder for him to keep money in that line item at a trustee standpoint versus if he contracts it to us and we can keep it flowing.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that in the world of mathematics, everything needs to balance off. And if it doesn't balance off, I look to see why it is. And I try to calculate what your yearly expenditure would be. For example, and I didn't get the 12-month one, December's, but you're budgeted for $298,950. And I took that right off the FST. Now all I did was divide all the money in half. And you would spend $239, so then they give you about $60,000 in half, so you come up with about $120 extra thousand, which is fine. And I mean, it's in the tax. I would just say that if you need somebody for, maybe perhaps you could look under that rock and see if there's anything there available for you.
Oh, we're absolutely
That was
fine
the plan.
with that comment that you made. That's one reason why we said we want to be good stewards and we don't want you to give us 821 if they only pulled 746 or whatever the number is. We're going to make it work somehow. Even if it means going to 2 people, we're going to make that work to get by so we can keep getting that truck out the door in under 2 minutes, getting to someone when they call 911.
That's another question I had. On the response time, is that when the door opens? What is the exact response time? Because I've seen the documents, Matt had it at the last meeting, and it said you took 1 minute and 38 seconds.
It's what we normally do. Here's how we normally do it, is when we get to the truck, we have this little tablet thing, and you have to push the en route button. And if that's not working, you got to grab the mic and tell dispatch, and then it takes them another few seconds to say you're actually en route, responding. That's what that is.
Having been a firefighter for a while, I don't envy them, because I was always assigned one truck, right? I was up toward the city. These guys sometimes have to split their gear, get it back off the truck, get in the tanker, or if the gear's in the tanker, then they gotta go move over, get onto the squad. So that adds 20, 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm just asking for what is the definition of response time? Is it when the grinder over?
Yeah, I would call that the truck getting out
Yeah,
the
as the
door
truck
and taking
starts
off to you if you called 911.
Breaking the door.
Yeah.
Just breaking
Not breaking the
no, without breaking the door, but
I thought maybe it was breaking the door because I saw in your budget you spent the grinder.
Well, and sometimes those springs break, so they kind of come out and replace them and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, those are maintenance things that, again, if we have extra money, we get it there. You know, we had a lot of expenses we weren't super planning on because we had a whole pump that we thought was good. It needed completely rebuilt. We were told, you know, by a previous administration they weren't going to give us the 120-some startup money. So when things were getting tight, if someone called in sick, we may have only had 2 people because we were very concerned about our money situation there for a little while. It was getting very sketchy because of all the maintenance things, the lawyer fees, little things that were adding up that we weren't ready for or anticipating to be hitting us as hard as they were when they were hitting.
I would also recommend if you establish that operating fund and SBOA comes out and audits you, they will look at that fund, of course, then they're going to look at the firemen because that's where the fund is.
right.
So just be careful, guys. Make sure your books are in order.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take it on the chin a little bit to fix it the right way. And if it has to cost a little bit of money and everybody gets looked at,
And we've always wanted to do things the right way as well. That's why we've continued to grow this from what it was 10, 15 years ago.
and I'm learning. There's 15 years for somebody else to be in. It's a lot done around. And it's pretty antiquated.
The one thing I will say in your defense, the fact that the township sat on a lot of money for a long time, and they should have been more forthcoming to you guys, saying this is what you need.
We did not know about that money. We did not know it
Yeah, we had no
existed.
clue.
It was not shared with us. And I did know that in some years past, there was money getting dumped in stuff, and it was earmarked and not allowed to go to the fire department. Then it had to wait and then go into a rainy day fund, and then they weren't willing to give us any rainy day fund money. I don't know why, but you know, we've worked on submitting nice budgets, pre-plans of how our years are going to go, like you've seen that FSG paperwork, very similar on our end. You know, our goal is to just handle a 911 call, but yet we're also running a business, and we're local men and women that have lives outside of the firehouse and still want to go home and spend time there and shut off for a little bit and not worry about this line item, that line item, this maintenance, that, but we do. And you know, there's been so much stuff thrown out there publicly. There was a guy going around saying that the fire chief, was making $52,000. 100% inaccurate. It's in the FSG paperwork. It mentioned that I was eligible for $5,200 to come to meetings like this. I'm still coming to these meetings and being transparent for free. I told him I did not want the $5,200, that the fire department needed that for the pump, that it was needed for those lawyer fees, not for me. Because if I want to make money for the fire department, I'll sign up for a 12-hour shift.
I will state that I went through, I didn't find $10,000 on lawyer's fees in the books you sent. And they might be there. I know you paid your attorney.
Yeah.
I will not do that anymore. If you don't mind, I'll call you. And I'll say, can I take a look at this or at that?
Well, that would help save the taxpayer money and not hurt our books. So that would be
Same with any.
quite appreciated. So,
Sit down with you anytime.
But I was always surprised that the town has a lawyer, and he's a very good lawyer. The township never did, and they never had a website. In today's day and age, you don't have a website.
The township?
The township never.
before. He's saying
I just understand.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, now you don't.
Right.
But 2 years ago, there wasn't.
That's part of the 15 years I'm on wrestling.
Yeah, I agree. And so, yeah, that's, just, thank you very much.
Yeah, and we know that Senate Bill 1's going to hit harder again this next year, which is a deep concern for us. So, you know, we just seen where we submit 821 and they're only going to give us 746. Next year, we could request 821 again or 846 and be told, you're only getting 650, for example. So we want to make sure we don't set ourselves up for flat failure again like we did.
Senate Bill 1 is a political tool.
Oh, I'm aware.
Say, look what I did, I dropped your property tax. At the local level, you're going, I've got to get those, I've got to collect those back.
So reassess.
Yeah, and you're like, well, just reassess everything, and it's going to cost you as much or more, but the state can brag about the fact that they lowered your property taxes.
To take in the caveat that the timing for the territory to be formed, no offense, couldn't have been worse. Because all those things fell at the exact same
Yeah.
time. Yeah, no. Every person in here understands that.
I'd just like to go on the record and say that I've been screaming at SB1 with affordable ideas.
Well, we're seeing it. We're all seeing the effects of
I've
it.
been yelling
Have,
for years.
I mean, you guys have been communicating with us here. Have you guys, and I know some of you are running for office, have you guys been to the school board meetings and seen what they're going to do to cut their budget or anything? Or heard what it's doing to their budget, or what are they going to do? Because that's a concern I have, and I don't know what the county's doing anything. I've been really focused on fire department budgets, that I haven't been looking into whether the county's doing to cut, what the school's doing to cut. I didn't know if you guys had been going to those meetings and heard anything to help people with their property taxes.
Honest with you, the reason that this caught my attention personally was because of the 500+% jump that caught my attention. It's been a slippery slope into all other kinds of avenues for me, but I was going to ask on that line, SB1, is there, like, I'm not assuming that anybody does not know, I'm just trying to remember, aren't we too small to be able to impose a lit tax of our own now?
As far as the town or the township.
But
The money that we gave in the town, it comes from the county.
Yeah, because it's studying before SB1.
Right. I believe the county sets that, and we don't know what that's going to be.
That's got to be 10,000 someone to
Yeah.
the county keeps break down.
And then we get what they want to give us, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it's based on population. So I'm sure it's going, got to be comparable to what's close by the town.
I know that Morgan County commissioners are, one of the specific has been speaking up at every meeting saying that we are going to have some roads in Morgan County that are going to go back to gravel.
I heard that too.
We do not have the money, we are not going to have the money from SB1 that we normally have. And he's like, it's not going to work.
And the lit tax.
That's the thing.
And the lit tax, in my opinion, looks like it was a bridge. And then they said, okay, we're going to give you this, and we're going to start backing it off. And if you've got too much money in one place, we're going to take it, and then not have gravel roads. So,
And the county increase that's,
Couldn't that go back to the fact that just looking at Jackson Township, an entity, and you said there's 1,000 other townships? We also got a lot of money like this township did. I can see that the state's going back and saying,
Right.
hey, wait a minute, now there's a lot of money out there. It's not getting used. Let's make them use it.
as a territory, that's, you can vary in different opinions. The money that is available, how would you like to see it spent? I mean, the taxes are already collected.
Your minimum budget, the $72,000 budget for the township or for the territory?
Well, I don't get them crossed up every once in a while. I'm asking you as a citizen, if that money is there in the township, and I also can affect a little bit of what goes to the territory, what things would you like for that to be spent, with the exception of, I'll change the way that they get paid, but with the exception of them getting their draws, if there's money, say in the 500,000, where would you like to see it spent? would we be out of bounds for a brush truck?
These 500,000 you put into
The hide the money fund?
yeah.
Yeah, which is more than that.
That was
Full
the,
disclosure, it's 724.
was that the capital improvement plan you're talking about?
No,
Was
that was the-
Or the equipment replacement fund, okay. He's
So
talking about that
I
equipment
asked-
replacement fund.
Obviously, there are, and I'm not going to hide any of this, there are people in the room that we have fundamental differences about how that would be done. If there was $724,000, $500,000 line, it needs to stay there. The 500 needs to stay there because we need to keep it away from the grab at 28. What would you like to see?
So
Tangibly.
yeah, so I was going to first of all, so that 500,000, the resolution, before either one of you were, or either one of us were there,
Yeah.
that resolution was made and passed to move it there to reduce future tax rates
Right.
by, at that time, I think, within 3 or 4 cents
Okay.
per year. So I think if that's going to be touched for other reasons, it probably require another resolution. I don't know if you, well, if it's used for fire services, it's probably
So-
have to be.
So I think he's saying that 500,000 is in the equipment replacement fund for the fire department. What would you like to see it spent on as fire department equipment replacement fund? Like a brush truck? Is that what you would like to see?
But what I'm trying to say is, it was put there to reduce future taxes. That was the purpose of it, to reduce future tax. Right?
In order, I think where I get a little crossed up is in order for that to happen. When that happened, it was like a wish list for the township and for the fire department and all these other things. So it was built with things like attached to it. It doesn't have to go through that thing, but I was just doing some fencing up. I mean, we can do,
So,
there's all sorts of things.
well, and my understanding was the original thing was they agreed to put it into the equipment replacement fund. Then they came back later and said, can we reduce 3 pennies for
The equipment replacement.
3 years or 4 years or whatever? And then someone resigned and it didn't get done. So the original resolution went through. The $500,000 got moved. The next resolution, the next thing.
Didn't make it in
Did
time.
not, and that was to reduce 3 pennies.
Which is that
I warn you
113,000.
that would set up your equipment replacement fund for failure if you don't
Yeah, 'cause that equipment.
put 100,000 in it every year. When trucks are,
It's created as a cumulative fund by identical resolution and ordinance. You can't just put money in there and reduce the tax. You have to put your money in your general fund. Then you can reduce your tax next year. That's what the law says.
but,
No,
yeah.
The only thing I'm getting at is, it was my understanding. Look, all that another word, been done. But it didn't, so that part of the budget was different.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
That's why the 3 pennies didn't get knocked off.
Yeah,
Correct.
the,
Yes, we're understanding
the
that.
capital improvement plan got done in time. The budget did not.
I think what Matt was asking, would you guys rather, what he's asking is with that 500,000, like if you did a resolutions, would you rather see fences around cemeteries, is what he's asking.
Yeah,
Isn't that what you're asking?
I get it.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk.
Instead of a brush truck, you know, is what he's getting. Yeah.
You answered the question that I had, and it was one of the things I was using to reduce the overall property tax. I went over the township's book from a bank and saw all the stuff sitting there. I was going to use portions of it to reduce the taxes. You answered the question, because I don't know, always asked the question, why didn't FSC look at the money was available? But you mentioned you didn't even know it was there.
Right. FSG didn't know it was there because we didn't know it was there.
Yeah, so that answers the
And-
question. Why wasn't it used? Because nobody knew about it. It was a big lie.
But while it is sitting there, that's what I was asking, like, what would you like to see?
What do they need?
Yeah,
Right, well, right now, our would be a brush truck, like we've been researching. But my only concern or warning about reducing the 3 pennies, and another reason it didn't get done in time, and I also think that the DLGF did not approve it, was similar to what Joe said, if we reduce 3 pennies, the cost of fire equipment, the inflation is ridiculous. And we cannot keep up no matter what we do. When a fire truck today is 1.2 million, by 2030, it's probably going to be over 1.5 million. If we're not collecting 3 pennies to keep in that savings account of equipment replacement fund, I do concern we're still not going to get stuff we need when we need it. That's the only thing I got to say about that. But one reason why I think the 3 pennies didn't get reduced was because the township and town had to agree to it, and it wasn't presented that way properly through the DLGF to reduce that tax properly. You had a question. Sorry, you raised your...
So I'm not arguing that you guys need to put this.
Yeah.
But what I'm not understanding is you're saying we need to spend the money, but then you're also saying we need to keep X amount of money in the bank. And then if we don't collect this tax, then they're going to, the cost of everything's going up. But you can only have X amount in the bank. The state's going to take it.
Right. So,
where's your balance?
so the capital improvement plan, or the equipment replacement fund is allowed to collect, not our regular budget fund. So that is allowed to be a savings account for a fire truck, brush truck, equipment.
But then Joe was saying, Joe was saying that it needs to be in the general fund. So that the
To reduce taxes, it's got to be in general fund, not the equipment replacement fund. If you, like, they were trying to cut the 3 pennies out of the equipment replacement fund, they both entities had to agree. One did, one was never brought into the conversation. That's why the DLGF did not approve that. That's why it still pulled 3 pennies, is my understanding. Okay? So if you want to, I would like to still see the 3 pennies, but if you guys want to do that, you have to communicate better in the future if you want to reduce 3 pennies to get it down for the taxpayer, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm sharing.
Town and township.
Township board and town. You got to communicate that to the two. I totally agree. And that is what did not happen.
Well, the problem was the town had no idea that was even going on either
Yeah, but it's not.
at the time. It's not. Yes.
Read the article and they were talking about Matt, having a conversation with them about the possible discussion of the townships merging, and there was and I have it on my phone.
I hope I'm not misquoted, I didn't hear it.
It was basically the fourth township, and
Harrison.
Harrison.
Yeah,
is that part of the conversation too? Or?
it is part of the conversation. It's another bit of a role, but one of the things that was talked about, okay, so let me back up. My whole intent when I mentioned that at the township board meeting was to say exactly what he was saying. We were trying to get, I said, whoa, if they're going to do this, they're going to jump in at 40 and 42. I already had some conversations with we talked about things moving in that with Mr. Everett and his other role. Well, in my head, I'm like, if he could get in there and have a civil conversation between the people that would be affected with this, could I get it to 28? Or could I get it to 20? I don't know where it would be. But if we could, because of the Township Association, the ITA, they were saying, if this is not done yet, you guys can still do your own deals if you can get people to participate. And that's what I was trying to do, is initiate participation of having that conversation. The reason Harrison Township was involved, A, they're a district and we're a territory. We don't know who would be better, so I was like, which part of that could we adopt? B, Harrison Township trustee is part. So the other part is that we were told that physical barriers may play a role in the way that the townships will be busted up because of the White River Township, or the actual White River. But there's limited access, there's not all the bridges there. So if that's an explanation, does that help?
I just had heard Fourth Township, and I don't really know where you read that on the, if this bill didn't come about,
Sure.
the moving through, it wasn't even a discussion. probably wouldn't be thinking about merging, right? There's no real other reason.
Other than the bills that are being presented, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, there is a reason to think about merging, because if the AV is in Washington Township, it's higher than ours. But they manage their money very well, and I'm not telling them to do it, but if they were able to come up a couple, and we could come down a little, that's about all I was thinking.
So, just a point of interest, I'm not saying that's a concern, but just so everybody knows, one of the bills, maybe something to think about, one of the bills has language that repeals the ability to demerge a volunteer for if it should pass. So if we voluntarily merge, this bill passes, we realize that we make a mistake, we can't be, not saying that means we don't do it, but it's fair to take.
There wouldn't be anything that would come under, would have a vote or anything until we win the territory attack in the township.
What do you feel like that would affect, Dan? Like if us in Washington came to an agreement, example, and then our township was one big township, whole new assessed value, maybe a better fire tax levy, whatever. What would be the issue there? I mean, I guess they're saying you just can't go back to Jackson Township because the goal is to be ran by the county long term, right?
Yeah.
To restrict or to so we're not stepping on each other's fire services, police services, waste, because some people are making great money to be that, some are not. Some are getting very good services, some are not. So if you're all one, they're just saying you can't go back to Morgantown and Jackson Township.
Well, it's not.
That's the way I interpret that.
Not a territory, but a township.
And that's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to the fire department per se, but I don't like if we did come to an agreement before they forced us into an agreement. I just think that means we're playing well together. And what's the harm in that?
Yeah, I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
That's just something to take into consideration.
No, I appreciate your
If it's-
comment.
if it's
Yeah.
tabled, and we're like, gosh, we messed up, we should have done this, let's get out of here. If that bill passed, that language, where that ability to do that wouldn't exist.
I see.
And
Are you worried that this train's already on the track, though, and the state's going to force this?
So I actually, my personal opinion, again, could be wrong. It is a short session. I think they're going to be done by February 27th. It has to be done by March 14th. But I do know that it is a priority for them to dissolve townships in one way.
Like, yeah, he said that in a township meeting, there's 1,006, and they're wanting how many?
300?
300. I mean, that's a huge reduction, so it seems like they're going to try to force something. Like we said, this could be another 10 years, we don't know. But so I didn't know if you thought didn't know how quickly you thought this would happen. And that's what I was thinking when he was talking about meeting with them, that, if they're going to force it, why not go ahead and have those conversations now?
Yeah. A week ago, I would have said, I really don't think it's going to happen this year.
Right.
Now, closer to 50.
Yeah.
That's 50, we don't know. Right?
Well, it's wild. It's just, it's hard to, we can't predict it.
Yeah.
The logistics and the economics of it would be impossible to figure out. Because each township has a different funding source, different amounts of money. How do you dissolve 3 townships and make one and take everybody's money and put it in the pot? The people that have higher tax rates and more money, they're not going to want to give it to the township that doesn't have as much. They'll never figure that out and just sit back and just never will. And that would be a big fight.
I think that's why there's a push to see if we can get along now and play in the sandbox together friendly,
Yeah.
if that's the analogy to use. Honestly, this discussion has been productive for me tonight, but honestly, this was some of the same discussions that were happening within the last 5 years, which is why we considered the fire territory. So that way we had a bargaining chip when this day was coming.
I feel like the way I read into it, and I learning all of this. I feel like we're all just trying to figure out how this works.
Absolutely.
It seemed to me that over the township's people, like, I don't think that they are planning to change it necessarily, in that you don't take care of your business, and if it does happen, you don't willingly do it, then it falls back on the county. I don't think that, in my view, the way I read it, it was like the county as a default, not that it was, that's just my point of view from where it came from.
Absolutely.
So that I don't like the bigger of a government. I think that we already have a hard enough time working through what we've got to, what we're all trying to do, and bringing in other people from other townships might get a little more messy, a little more, convoluted. So I'm still trying to get on it. I did have a question about the brush truck situation. I know that we obviously need to reading up on it now. I understand a little bit more about what it is. And the thing I'm stuck on is, like, why do we need a custom-built truck instead of buying one that maybe slightly used and something we can work with? Is that off the table?
So when we say custom built, it's not just the F-350 you buy here at Ray Skillman, because it's got lights, it's got siren on it. That's the custom part. And that's all in one bill of what it costs to have that NFPA qualified light kit put on it. We have the unit already exist to go on that, and we're looking at F-350s and 450s with a good solid frame to handle that weight, because the current one is kind of kinking.
I was thinking, like, looking at other fire departments, the ones that they're selling that are already brush trucks in the Indiana area, if we can find something in Center Grove.
Well, and that's why it's still in discussion right now.
Trying to figure out.
And we're making do with what we got. We've been trying to make do with what we got. Like I said, that's why we had that 2000 International truck. There's plenty of departments already would have sent it down the road. It's a whole lot easier, I'm going to say, pill to swallow that we put 25 grand in it last year than coming to you guys saying, no, we just bought a $1.2 million fire truck, and that's how we're being good stewards with your money. I'd rather spend $25,000 and keep that thing that has no emissions, still has good updated lighting, still has a good pump that'll put your house fire out. And honestly, I like that truck better than a new one. I just do. I think that is being more transparent, more stewards to what this community needs right now versus $1.2 million truck that would have us in debt and be a burden to you, the taxpayer, harder than we're already dealing with.
How other communities do it, or should we know? Do we, like,
Yeah.
do they typically go to attorneys?
Yeah, everyone's got lawyers. And we have some of it. We want to make sure we're not violating things like HIPAA and stuff like that with certain information that's requested. So we just absolutely have a lawyer oversee everything, confirm it's good, and send it.
Yes, that seems to be normal with other places as well.
So
Yes.
that money comes out of
It came out of...
It came out of ours. I didn't take it to the trustee. I just paid it with the first installment I received. So, yeah.
I do have a question on the equipment, because that was one of the questions I asked, and I didn't get a response to it. What equipment does the territory own, or the township own? And if this truck is purchased, it would be the territory.
Correct.
Over here.
Correct.
So what does the township own?
Right now, the township owns a 2011 F-350. That is our rescue truck. It owns a 1996 F-350 that is a rescue truck, and the 2000 International engine pumper.
And you guys own the rest? How many vehicles do you have?
We have a brush truck, a tanker, an engine, a pickup truck that supports or does EMS calls.
And your corporation owns that?
That's correct.
And you purchased it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Is your unit for the potential brush drive, is that an extra unit, or you're going to take the one off?
It can,
take
it
one off
slides
the
right
existing.
off the bed of our current one and goes right in the bed of the next one. That's, yes.
I was wondering if we have,
It's a 300 gallons of water, and it's got a fire pump on it on the back, and it also has a little box to store our leaf blowers, backpack blowers, whatever you want to call them.
That bed
Some
was-
of our other wildland gear.
It holds 300 gallons of water, 6 gallons of foam. I think we purchased that around 2017. I might be wrong. It was somewhere in that time frame. Nice unit. It's just a lot of weight for that older F-350. If replaced, we can put that truck up for bid and sell it.
I'll make the motion.
Everybody
See,
good?
this is what is important. Transparency and discussion. When you do a meeting in 30 minutes, you don't get this kind of discussion.
Right.
Important.
They're getting better. The beginning.
Can I ask you a question since you're running for office? Do you plan on keeping the fire territory or dissolving it?
Oh, I'm all for the fire church. You guys actually, when I got the tax bill, I was mad. I'm saying, I'm on Social Security, my bill went up $1,000. I'm not too excited. School went up by 8%. They should have got the money, not fire. But anyhow, fire department support. I'm used to Oregon where every city had their own fire department. And any fire in the hinterlands was covered by the cities. And the county paid the fire departments the money to the cities. Different here than having the township do it all. Certainly you guys need to be there, and I was, like I said, I was upset when I saw the amount of money that's sat in the township. And you guys were groveling for chicken scratch on the floor. I want to read it. There's $123,000 over here in this fund that's sat there for 3 years.
I wish I knew it was there.
It not.
I really wish I knew it was there.
Well, see, that's what I always say. The information is out there, you just need to look for it. And that's why I do these FOIAs, because that's how I find it out. And, Dad had to one time what the plan was. There was money in there, there was a lot of money in there. I was gonna use that money to keep you guys whole, but to reduce the tax burden, because that money could have gone into your office. And you wouldn't have had to ask for so much. That was my,
And
and that would have helped the community, because the tax rate wouldn't have been so.
yeah,
As a matter of fact, I had calculated it at about 21 cents to come in at, to use that money in. Now, Joe probably has ideas on, how to move the money around, and that's something, a logistical thing that could have been working. But the fact that it's sat there for years and years and years, and as I said, 2023, they had like 480,000, 2024 was 590, 2025, at the end of the year, or beginning of the year, $691,000. The money's coming in, but you guys weren't getting it. And I looked at all of that and said, this is how we do this, to get it, not have the tax inside. And if you didn't know that,
we had no clue.
it'd be a whole different story.
And they did come to us and told us that they wanted us to do this fire territory, and we did it.
Well, the other thing was,
The elected officials.
at the last meeting, we had the territory meeting, I was told, I said, why didn't you have all the tax dollars just sitting there? I was told, well, we were told that we might need some. Well, they do need it. And you tax to spend on the things you need. That's why you tax, because you gotta have the money to buy it, and you give it to the folks that need to buy it, they buy it, and then the tax replenish it, not just to build a savings account.
After this experience, we're finding out that this is a statewide issue, and we're not the only township that was in that predicament. Because other townships have become fire territories as well, and the same thing, they're like, hey, they're a trustee, been a trustee for years, and did it the same way the trustee before them did, they did it the same way before them, and they're like, hey, I've got $600,000-$700,000 here, and they're like, you never even gave me more than 90 to contract with you, and now we did this territory and made all of our people upset, and it's a statewide issue.
This is, from my perspective, it wouldn't have been as egregious everybody would have known about it, and would have come forward and said, hey, we need to do this. But everybody at that first meeting in April said, wait a minute, they published it for Mooresville for one meeting, one publishing for 4 meetings, boom, it was through, and nobody knew about it until we got our next one. That was the predicate to get everybody bent out of shape.
Yeah. So, it's been an evolving situation from the beginning. There's been heated statements that have been said, but there's also been common collective people. I'm not talking about me. There's been common collective people that said, it's done, let's move on. We as a group, and you know what we're talking about, we as a group have made that decision. We agree. We do want to make sure everything is, we do still want to be involved. We want to be involved. I would ask those that we offended, or that took our reaction personally to also help us there by mentally moving on, not thinking that if we have a question, that it's, or if we make a statement, or ask for something, that we're not out to tear up the territory. Because that opinion doesn't exist. There's always a territory.
Well, I would hope not.
Yeah,
It's-
from
it
the
is-
beginning, it felt like we were being attacked, and then when the records were requested and all this stuff started happening, that was really tough when I received those from you guys, and then I never heard nothing. I never heard if anything was wrong or anything. I still have never heard anything, but, I mean, you guys have them, and you've been very open that you had them tonight, both of you, and that everything looked good. So I'm glad to hear everything was good, because we have tried for years as a volunteer fire company. You'd be amazed how many people don't have good records, and I feel like we have had pretty decent records for a volunteer fire company.
I do have a bone to pick. And that's on your responses, the addresses and all, and where you go. You're not, and I shouldn't say this, but I've studied NFPA too.
Mhm.
Your reporting is not time out, who went there, who did what. The last thing I did.
You mean on our run reports, or like
Yeah.
fire run reports? The incident reports?
Yeah, because it doesn't, it's supposed to have like 4 things and then who's in charge. You've got the who's in charge now, but they're supposed to.
So I will say that is a software
We do have a
program,
new software program called ESO.
and you try to click through and get it all on one page for you and stuff, plus working with the lawyer, they're like, this is what they need.
Yeah.
So,
Each one of those lines, Alan, has a report in it where we break it down.
oh, it breaks down way further. You gotta click,
One of those has a 30-minute report that takes.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So apparently what you received is missing some of that, is what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, last year you did, I just went by last year.
Oh, okay, okay,
Last year, I know you did 408.
right.
70% of the runs were medical. 16% of the runs that were medical were in one location in town. All of that data. This is
Right.
I like to see it. I like
Right.
The news report was a little bit. I saw the blogs in there, and I go, "There's got to be more to this than that."
Yeah, there is.
Has its own detail.
There is, but it's on that software program.
And some of that has information that would be a HIPAA violation and stuff that we can't directly share.
Jewel, can I get you after chatting and waiting for me?
We asked it earlier, and I want to circle back to you asking your question. What would you like to see done with the money? I'm more of a guy that I like to see a problem, be decisive. We've had 2 dry seasons, really dry. 2 dry seasons. Bradford gets into places that the community will never get, that they'll never get overflows from the engine. I think it's very important that they get an answer sooner than later. I mean, we've all seen how important it was, but I think it's okay that we should be able to tell Chief, start more aggressively with the push.
If that's the priority, that's what you should do. You only have to do one, because we don't know what you need. You need a brush truck, if that's the priority, you better
You guys can get him the blessing.
Well, not to
I
keep,
want to be more aggressive than just making a decision, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm trying to quiet down all the
yeah, not to keep repeating ourselves, but we just want to keep we answer to you all, the taxpayers. We're trying to make sure we're doing the best by you, the taxpayers, so we're doing our best to listen.
Right.
And that's what the whole point was tonight. Is this okay? And so thank you for
in
bringing
both
that
of
up.
my roles, you can ask them, nobody's really ever came to them and said, I want to see it. I want to see your work, I want to see your books, I want to see what's the budget, all these other things. Would you agree? Like, this has been a great conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
This has all been
I
a
think
new.
that-
This
that-
has all been a new experience. We started this, like we discussed, the meetings and everything, the way that all went. We know how that went, but we didn't go into effect till July 1st. So we've only been running for 6 months, and this has all been a new learning experience. A lot of unexpected things come in every direction from everybody. Because I have no problem with anyone that was upset or wanted answers. Because I get it. You're a taxpayer and you deserve those. So. With that being said, yeah, this has been a huge learning experience for all of us involved because it was just no one knew anything about it really. We just dove in, hit our head on the bottom, and then we had to come back up and say, okay, we got to fix this, if I can say it that way.
And we've been very straightforward with what our goals were, like meeting with ISO, and I'm really looking forward to hearing back from them to hopefully come back and people save, I'm hoping at minimum a couple hundred, I hope more, on their homeowners insurance that they could shop around, get those escrows down. Because that's going to be huge for our people in our community to get that down. Sorry, how much?
My insurance went up $400.
And my
For
goal is
this
to
year?
get it back down at minimum 400 if we can. And that's why we're still doing this.
We are still currently at 10.
And us continuing to grow this territory and letting it live longer is only going to help that insurance rate. And I know some say, well, that's a minute point because I've got all this land, and I get that. I hear you. And we're going to continue to work on those things. That's why we're saying we'll take the 700 and something and not force you to come up with 821. That's absurd. If we can do that and keep the taxes lower for the taxpayer, that's our goal at the end of the day.
Does anybody have an answer as to why a utility such as Brown County Water can put in all the water lines, not put in any damn fire hydrants anywhere?
Do you want to go to that board and go to those meetings too for us? You are more than welcome to go to them.
I honestly don't know much about Brown County Water and their stuff.
Well, we get ours, I live in St. Johns County, we get it from Clearwater. But anytime any development in Oregon ran in water lines, they had to have fire hydrants. They had to have it prepared for you guys. So you don't have to chase water, so it's right there.
Yeah.
Painted Hills, same way. Nobody's getting their water out.
Painted Hills is the same way. They don't want us using the water out of their hydrants.
Breastfed water cat hydrants instead of flush hydrants and then shut off. Is that the bill, guys?
So like the ones, Alan, the ones in your housing addition are shut off.
Pardon?
The ones in your housing addition are shut off by Brown County Water. Those
At least
hydrants,
that's my understanding.
At your entrance.
The one in front of Western Church is off.
The one in front of the First Christian Church out on Church Street, it is shut off by Brown County Water. Well, yeah, we mentioned that at the last township meeting. Yeah, we mentioned that at the last township meeting, that those aren't considered fire hydrants, they're considered flush hydrants, so they are shut off.
Actually, hurt.
Yeah, we're between a rock and a hard place, but we're doing our best.
St. John's County, 70 houses, or actually 55 houses, and the rest of the lots, one fire hydrant.
Well, you're going to watch us throw a hard suction down in that lake and pull the water out of the lake since those hydrants ain't working. I mean, and that's why we had the pump rebuilt, so we can know that it can do it.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question a long time ago, if you guys had agreements with people that had funds, you could draw from them.
Oh, if you got a swimming pool in your backyard and we pull that water out, we're going to pull it out if we need to.
Good.
We try to train for that stuff.
I gotta get Jewel in here.
Problem is,
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did have a question on that. I know that Liz was made up, that it had
they could have hydrants on that list, have things that was on that list, that was supposed to lower the ISO rating. I think it would be worth looking at, even though those water lines was put in after that, they may require the township to do that. In Indiana, we don't know, so we just couldn't say that, because if we can get stuff out of the township, it will help lower the ISO rating. I know that the town is working, we're going to get like 20, I think, supervisors, we may get more. We're going to have money, contingency money left over the big water project we're doing with it. We're going to be paying our hydrants, we're doing everything that we can in our town to try to lower that ISO rating. But the town is 40% of the ISO rating.
Well, it's the benefit of everybody, and regardless, even if it doesn't lower the rating, like it's going to happen.
But I did want to say, well, this has been bothering me. I'm on the council. I love being on the council, being Joe love on the council. Joe works crazy hard on the council. But I wanted to let everybody know that when I first started, when I came back here over 10 years ago, when I got here in 10 when I had left. So I left for 2 years, I came back, and it wasn't transparent. So I was just like right there. And I was like, what is going on? And people think it's on the grass was looking like it, and measure grass. Crazy. So I got involved and was videoing all the meetings. There was none of that. So now, one of the reasons why the township has a website is that the state made these rules for the town to be more transparent. So this was all coming anyway. Actually, the council was figuring out how we want to do this. So these cameras that you see, they didn't get here easily. It was the job. But I wanted to let everybody know that People's Morgantown community was created by Joe's daughter. Necessity, because the other town page that we have time, it was done by our council at the time. And so it was very voluntary and sensitive. And so we created that page to say absolutely anything you want, and it's not going to. So it was made to people have a voice in this town. And that today, we actually started a thing with grass. We had people donate leaders and lawnmowers to us. So with this part here, where it started, I went to Escalona meetings and I put it out there. Is our territory. Well, I wanted the people to know that this was happening to everyone. So I think what really happened is that people are busy with their families, their lives, and all and what everybody else is thinking about their bills. But it wasn't because there wasn't somebody trying to get this message to you. So I wanted you to know that, because I don't think it's been, I don't feel like it's been very transparent. It's kind of been, it's bothering.
Never underestimated your efforts. I know I've seen that.
I just want everybody to know. That's why that $30,000 sign is out front now. We've seen it at the meeting. Well, that took work. We had to learn a program to do that. We got backflash from it wasn't up there yet, right? So we've gone the extra miles to learn how to run this system and get this up there. Like, got a meeting Friday. We just got that on the day. We did not figure out how to right? But we were working to try to make everything transparent.
So just remember how many feathers you ruffled when you came into it. I'm right there. I am you.
And I will say, assessed values, wow. We have a lot of beautiful homes, a lot of beautiful property, and the assessed values blew me away. Even my own house and property, the assessed value since when I purchased in 2017 has just went crazy.
And that's because everybody probably realizes this. When we create things, when we buy things, when we do things, there's the state, and we need to put pressure on the state. Y'all have said this many times. our legislator says we don't write one out. Because they have got us all tied down. We have one place to get our taxes. That is the tax our property. If we pass anything, guess what they have to do with our property? They have to raise our property to get the amount of money to pay for these services. So we have to find other ways. And we've got to go there. We've got to put pressure. But we are getting and we need our territory. I think that's it.
And our big way to help right now is not charge you $821 when it only brought in $7, whatever. We'll just take the 700 and something and we'll move on.
Conversation.
People, and they've got support 100%.
I think they're losing all of our support right now. I think they're ready.
I want hot mic.
Sometimes.
All right, second motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
All right, thanks for coming.
Oh, you got to
Chad, what's your last name? What? ETS? Okay, thank you. Thank you.